Thanks very much, Ryan. And thank you everybody for coming. So I will now kick off our exciting event. So good afternoon and welcome to the 22nd Annual Life Sciences BC Awards Ceremony presented by FARRIS. It's wonderful to be here, and we really appreciate so many of you joining us for this afternoon celebration. While we would have loved to have had it in person, it's still a great opportunity for us to pause after what has been an incredibly busy and somewhat turbulent and somewhat unpredictable 6 months. And so I hope everyone just takes the time to not look at email and just engage in this activity where we can celebrate our amazing award winners and hear some incredibly inspiring stories. We encourage you to use social media to help share this event using the hashtag LSBC Awards and our handle at LifeSciences_BC. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge that I'm joining this meeting within the ancestral, traditional, and unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples, including the territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations. I'd also like to acknowledge that our speakers today are joining from other unceded Indigenous territories across this beautiful province and the country. For 22 years, thanks to FARRIS and our award sponsors, LSBC has brought our community together to celebrate British Columbia's extraordinary life sciences leadership. If there's one word to describe the sector, it's velocity. In the past 18 months, we've seen extraordinary growth. We have much to be proud of. A long tradition of world-class research producing excellent science and talent, and an expanding list of strong anchor and growing companies. We're at a pivotal point, and we have a great opportunity to accelerate the BC life sciences sector. I think it goes without saying that as you interact with people in our community, the energy and excitement is absolutely infectious. Many people have said to me, we haven't seen the level of activity, investment, and talent for many, many years in our province. So something that we have a great opportunity to leverage. In British Columbia, we're fortunate to have a vibrant and thriving sector that's marked not only by local and national accomplishments, but international recognition. We have a community of scientists, physicians, engineers, technologists, clinicians, researchers, thought provokers, and brave entrepreneurs. In short, we have many innovative individuals that at the end of the day give their all to make a difference. Included in this community and not to be forgotten is the support of numerous investors, advisors, and dedicated advocates that have enabled our ecosystem to thrive. That's one of the amazing things about the Life Sciences BC community is this is where we all come together. Together, we recognize the hard work, drive, innovation, pursuit of excellence, and pure determination of some of the great leaders in our sector. For our award winners, it started with a simple question. How do we pursue curiosity with meaningful discovery, and how will our new knowledge and innovation be put to use? Whether isolating a gene, developing a new vaccine, and or a health tech solution, our award winners have been leading teams that put new research into practice. All of this work is driven by their inspiring minds that advance science and, most importantly, better patient outcomes. It has never been more evident than now, where we see BC leading in COVID-19 innovation. From the amazing team at the BC Centre of Disease Control to our biotech leadership with AbCellera's rapid success in therapeutics, Precision Nanosystems vaccine platform technology, and the global partnership that Acuitas recently had put together for vaccine development. On the medtech side, we've seen both Starfish and Triumph accelerate work in ventilators, along with many other companies leveraging their expertise to manufacture PPE and other essential medical supplies. In addition, COVID-19 has catapulted us into a new era of health delivery with rapid adoption of virtual and digital health, as evidenced in the adoption of Thrive's digital health platform. This just names a few of the many BC-led initiatives underway. We can all celebrate and be proud. As we reflect on the last 6 months, it's hard to fathom the face of change. Throughout COVID-19, our sector has risen to the challenge. As we look ahead, I have no doubt that BC's science and innovation ecosystem will continue to lead the way and attract global attention. We as a sector are well positioned to leverage our strengths but also of British Columbia as we move forward. Our companies are attracting capital, creating jobs, and generating economic growth for the province. In closing, we're at that moment where innovation has ignited a new era, where we collaborate as scientists, entrepreneurs, and citizens in these pivotal, challenging times. I'm truly honored to be a part of this community. So now on to the program.
So that's my big.
Somebody might want to put themselves on mute. Our award event sponsors today play a pivotal role in making our community and this celebration possible. I would like to thank our presenting sponsor, FARRIS, and our award sponsors, AstraZeneca, the British Columbia Securities Commission, Canaccord Genuity, Genome BC, Janssen, the Michael Smith Foundation for Health Research, St. Paul's Foundation, and Providence Healthcare, and our event supporter, Aurinia. I would also like to thank our media contributors, both Biofilm Media, who did the videos that you will see, and Business in Vancouver, who were the contributing sponsor, who we wrote the magazine with. We would also like to recognize our committed LSBC sponsors who throughout the year make it possible for us to undertake all the many initiatives that we do in support of our ecosystem. Our platinum sponsors, FARRIS, GSK, Janssen, and Pfizer. Our silver sponsors, our gold sponsors, Admare, Blake's, Innovative Medicines Canada, and Stem Cell Technologies. Our silver sponsors, Amgen, AstraZeneca, BioTalent Canada, Fasken, Fujitsu, Genome BC, McCarthy Tetro, Michael Smith Foundation for Health Research, Novartis, PR Associates, and Roche. And finally, our bronze sponsors, AbbVie, Aon, Bosch Health, the Center of Health Evaluation and Outcomes, which is CHAOS, commonly known as CHAOS, Clinical Trials BC, Sativa, Deloitte, EMD Serono, Gowling WLG, Life Labs, Lumira Ventures, Merck, Nimbus Synergies, Novature, Nova Nordisk, Owen Wiggs, PwC, Starfish Medical, St. Paul's Foundation and Providence Health, Takeda, UBC Solder, and Xenon. Now, I would like to ask the chair of our board, Scott Phillips, the president and CEO and founder of Starfish Medical, to say a few words.
Thank you, Wendy. It's really it's a complete honor to be here and in these odd circumstances to be sitting at home in what normally would have been a large banquet hall. But welcome to the 22nd annual LifeSciences BC virtual event ceremony. On behalf of the board of directors, I'd like to welcome all the award recipients, the friends, family, special guests, our sponsors, community partners, and members to this. Really, it's always our sort of premier event of the year. And let me reflect a little bit on the year, if we want to do that. This has been a remarkable past year. If you think about some of our local members of our community that receive financing, Chinook Therapeutics, Aurinia, Zymeworks, AbCellera, Neurochrome Therapeutics, Sierra Oncology, and many more. It's been successful in that dimension. If you think about what's happened within LSBC, I mean, I think Wendy and the team have actually emerged from COVID stronger than ever. And the team is highly motivated. It's actually slightly larger. It's more focused. You may not know the very important role that LSBC played in PPEs. If you're interested in that, then I'm sure Wendy would be happy to tell you about it. We're providing higher value than ever to members. Imagine an organization that's largely been event-driven, and how do you become event-driven in a virtual world? And yet they figured it out. Also, a heavy focus on improving relationships with government and with other similar organizations across Canada. So kudos to Wendy and the whole team for pulling that off. So today we recognize the significant and extraordinary achievements of many individuals, institutions, and companies that have been part of the sector, doing discovery, doing commercialization, all the activities that we're kind of known for. Our theme for the year is Innovation in Motion, a New Era, which recognizes the standard of excellence we pursue individually and collaboratively to push forward and excel. And I would like to recognize some of the things that have happened in our sector relative to COVID alone, like significant work on vaccines and therapeutics related to COVID, ventilator project, and a bunch of work on PPEs. And I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of it, but I think BC has punched clearly dramatically above our weight in responding to this situation. So how do we take our situation? We're kind of sitting on the fringe of the continent. How do we build a globally competitive life science cluster? I feel like we've always kind of toyed with critical mass. And we develop companies. Sometimes they get acquired and keep building here. Sometimes they get acquired, move out. Sometimes they build a big company here. And but regardless of those outcomes, what they do is develop great people and develop executive talent. And that's the critical mass we need to build on. So I think we need to celebrate not merely the company successes, but the development of our critical mass of people ability. So the board of Life Science believes that we should commit to the following 4 main priority areas. One is aligning the life science ecosystem, strengthen our networks. From my perspective, I'd say normalizing entrepreneurship, creating an environment where it's normal to raise $50 million, where it's normal to hang it all out on a big idea, and that you can attract the intellectual capital and advisors and encouragement, as well as the pure dollars. We want to assist our SMEs in accessing smart capital. You'll notice that we have the events Access to Innovation. Investor Summit, we just built out a couple of years ago, and it's actually been already one of our most successful events. We want to find ways to support adoption and procurement of innovation. And we want to pursue pathways for graduating life science talent and have those people stay here in the province. For example, you will have noticed our Career Connect Day that we just prototyped about a year or two ago. That has also been dramatically successful. So taking all this and emerging from this sort of crush that the whole economy is going through, it's going to take some boldness. It's going to take some risks. We're used to that. It's going to take some support from government. But I have every confidence that if we work together, we support each other, and we just take opportunities to encourage what we all need to do to build together. I've got a very strong positive sense of what we're going to accomplish. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. I just said to somebody before we started this event that I thought we should have projected in the cheering and clapping that they put in the NHL and NBA virtual games. So maybe for the next one, hopefully. So thank you very much, Scott. As Scott has talked, it's really the community and the ecosystem working together that makes us as strong as we are. And we are very fortunate to be sitting in British Columbia and have such a strong working relationship with the BC government. This afternoon, I'm pleased to welcome Assistant Deputy Minister Susan Stanford, Investment, Innovation and Technology Division within the Ministry of Jobs, Economic Development and Competitiveness. She's here on behalf of Minister Mccauley. Susan is responsible for the development and implementation of technology, connectivity, and investment frameworks that deliver tangible benefits throughout British Columbia. This includes the life sciences portfolio, thankfully. Prior to her role, Susan was responsible for information communication technologies, including the management of a $1 billion telecommunications deal, a $100 million innovation fund, and provincial connectivity working with service providers, communities, levels of government, industry, and others. Prior to joining the government, Susan had several senior private and public sector roles in Ottawa, Ontario. She holds a master's in leadership from Royal Roads University, an executive MBA from Athabasca University, and a bachelor degree from Carleton. She spent most of her career in Ottawa before moving to Victoria with her husband in 2011. Susan, please join us and welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for that, Wendy. Just absolutely delighted to be here, and great to see you again, Scott. It's been a little bit of time. I'm very privileged to be here. As Wendy had mentioned, I'm an assistant deputy minister with our JEDI or JEDC Ministry for Economic Development and Competitiveness. I bring you a warm welcome from the territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples and the beautiful big city of Vancouver. I'd like to extend my congratulations to all of today's winners. The award reflects your hard work and entrepreneurial spirit. You should all be very proud of what you've accomplished. We are fortunate to have a vibrant life science sector that is distinguished by international recognition. Within the sector, there are dedicated people who work endlessly to solve the most complex health challenges. I want to thank you for your commitment to improve patient care outcomes. The life sciences sector in BC has so much to be proud of, much of which you've already started to talk about, and much of which you're going to be talking more about as this event continues. We have companies, many here today, that are at the forefront of medical innovations that will make a real difference in people's lives. During the most difficult times, the sector stepped up in the fight against COVID-19, coming to the aid of people and businesses. Our government remains committed to supporting and investing in the critical work that you do, and we look forward to seeing the next development that transpires out of your meaningful work. But at the forefront of your sector is Life Sciences BC. The guidance from this organization has brought great success to the sector and to British Columbia. As Michelle had mentioned, on behalf of Minister Mungal and the province, I want to thank Life Sciences BC and everyone in the sector for the innovations that you create that help people. Thank you, and stay safe.
Thank you very much, Susan. Okay, we are now going to move into the awards. So our first award this afternoon is the Strategic Life Sciences of the Year Award, sponsored by FARRIS. I'd like to welcome James Hatton to join me to announce the award winner.
Thank you very much, Wendy. On behalf of my partner, Hector McKay-Down, and myself, FARRIS is proud to return as a sponsor of the Life Sciences BC Awards event, as we have been every year since its inception 22 years ago. That's 22 years of sponsorship and many more years working alongside all of you in the industry, advising, guiding your transactions, celebrating with you when you succeed, and commiserating with you when you fail. We're a full service law firm. The Strategic Life Science Partner of the Year acknowledges the outstanding contribution of our partners who have significantly impacted British Columbia life sciences sector in 2019. This award highlights the positive engagement achieved through active agreements and collaborations in the life science sector in BC. I'm thrilled to announce this year's winner is Admari Bioinnovations. Admari Bioinnovations is Canada's global life sciences venture tasked with building the Canadian life sciences ecosystem from sea to sea. By sourcing therapeutically and commercially promising research from leading academics and biotech partners, they undertake to create new companies of scale, providing specialized expertise and infrastructure to help existing companies scale up while driving the growth of those companies into homegrown Canadian anchors. Now let's watch our award winners' video describing their journey in their own words.
Canada is too small and the world is too big for us to operate in little silos all over the country. So really like-minded groups trying to do the same things came together to create one national organization with a very clear vision of Canadian life sciences leading the world.
What we think the vision of the future is being able to take the most promising innovations out of Canadian academia and in small and medium-sized enterprises, and really to help them grow on a not only a Canadian scale but on a global scale.
When you talk to anybody around the world, they recognize the extraordinary research infrastructure that exists in Canada, and in particular in British Columbia.
So we know that our science is tremendous in Canada. We know our researchers are tremendous. We know that there is a lot of potential and promise in the therapies here. In order to improve things, we need to have organizations like us out there really helping to gel and put all of those pieces together so that the innovation ecosystem has the support it needs to move towards commercialization in Canada and beyond.
Everything we do is about collaboration and partnership, whether it's with our academic collaborators, a principal investigator and their team who has a new discovery, or a venture capital partner who wants to invest in compelling inventions in Canada, or all of the various members in between. Those partnerships are critically important.
It's really about bringing together the right people at the right time, and this is where part of being a pan-Canadian organization, with being in Quebec, being in Vancouver, having a presence in Toronto, the goal is to say, we know the people that you can talk to. We have the expertise. Let's make this happen together. For example, one of our most important initiatives is the Executive Institute, which we are incredibly fortunate to have tremendous support from Pfizer Canada. I think Pfizer recognizes the importance of growing that next generation of leaders in Canada. We're heading into our third year on that program now, and it's been a great success.
There's only one thing we need to do to build the innovation economy even more strongly than we have over the last few years, and that is never limit our aspiration. We have extraordinary research in this community and in this ecosystem. We have extraordinary people. You put those two things together and we can absolutely lead the world. So let's not limit our aspiration. Let's decide that we're going to take advantage of the extraordinary foundation we have and truly see Canadian life sciences leading the world.
Well, wow. Lana and Gordon, thank you so much for that. And that was, I always get such a charge out of these videos. I'm about to welcome Gordon Mccauley to accept this award. But first, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what Gordon is about to say. I've known Gordon for what feels like as long as we've been sponsoring these awards. And I can tell you that part of the reason that Admari is here today is because of the kind of leader that Gordon is. He's also suave, avuncular, and the epitome of the Laurentian elite. So he's going to tell you something like he's surrounded by smart people and he's unleashed them and they've achieved great results, the kind of things that we're seeing, the innovation we're seeing from Admari right now. But every organization takes its cue from the top. And what I love about what's happening at Admari right now starts with Gordon. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Gordon Mccauley, President and CEO of Admari Innovations.
Thank you, James. And in a very avuncular way, let me say that it is a real treat to receive this award from you, both because you are such a wonderful reflection of our life sciences community and a very dear friend as well. I want to say a bunch of thank yous around this award. First, to Life Sciences British Columbia. Wendy, you and your colleagues in a really peculiar situation have done a terrific job of representing the ecosystem throughout British Columbia and with these awards in particular. So thank you for that. We'd also like to say thank you to the individual award recipients as well. Each of you has made an extraordinary contribution to life sciences in British Columbia, and we are just flattered to be included among you. And if you'll allow me, I'd also like to specifically congratulate and thank our friend Nancy Harrison on her recognition today. Nobody in this ecosystem has done more than Nancy has, and nobody has done it more selflessly than Nancy has. And we are just thrilled to see that recognition today, even if she is made a little bit uncomfortable by it. In particular, importantly, let me thank my colleagues at Admari and our directors. They strive every day to live up to the name of this award, Strategic Life Sciences Partner. So more importantly, I should thank our partners, the academic scientists, the biotech innovators, the venture capital investors, the pharma colleagues, the public policy makers. We don't succeed unless you succeed. So for us to be recognized in this manner today is deeply, deeply flattering to us. I would also like to say that we are living in a particularly interesting moment, in a moment when we need teams to come together and build organizations together. And I hope I'm joined on my screen. I can't quite tell on my screen. I hope I'm joined on the screen by a number of my colleagues from across Canada in our leadership team. And they are a small representation of the 80 people, scientists, business people, professionals working in Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal, who strive every day to realize our mission, our vision of Canadian life sciences leading the world. All of us, our colleagues at Admari and friends and colleagues in the ecosystem, share an amazing good fortune. Good fortune probably never more profoundly important. As so many of our friends and neighbors, family members, have borne the brunt of the health and economic impacts of this pandemic, we have the wonderful good fortune to work in an industry that tries to improve human health every day and focuses every day on patients, family members, and caregivers. So while I say thank you to my colleagues, and while we say thank you to everyone in the ecosystem, we say that in full recognition of that good fortune. And so all of my colleagues at Admari challenge all of our friends in the ecosystem to respect that good fortune, to earn that good fortune every single day, and then get up tomorrow and respect it and earn it all over again. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. As James said, not surprisingly, Gordon spent more time congratulating all the people that he works with and all the amazing accomplishments that they have, and humbly only talking about his role in it. So Gordon, you're an inspirational leader, and we're so pleased to have you within our community. Our next award is the Milton Wong Award for Leadership. It's my pleasure to introduce John Hines, Director, Corporate Finance of the BC Securities Commission, who has generously sponsored this award to introduce this next award winner. John, you're on mute. There you go.
There we go. Thanks, Wendy. And virtually, hi, everyone. On behalf of the BC Securities Commission, it's my pleasure to help recognize this next award winner's contribution to the life sciences community. BCSC work helps people reach their financial goals, helps businesses to grow, and helps BC to thrive. We deliver effective investment market rules, diligent oversight, strong enforcement, and reliable guidance. Our work fosters and guards our capital market, making it a place where people can invest with confidence and companies can raise money cost effectively. One of the ways that we deliver on that promise is by having the most flexible capital raising regime in Canada, particularly for early stage companies. And I'm proud to say BCSE staff also take an open-minded approach to novel transactions. If you're trying to raise money, think of the BCSE as a resource. Check out our website at bcsc.bc.ca or give us a call. I'm now pleased to introduce the Milton Wong Award and to recognize a person who is very familiar with financing new companies in the life sciences sector. Milton Wong was an inspiration, an incredible man, and a tireless supporter of life sciences in BC. This award pays tribute to his memory and to his significant and long-standing contribution to this industry. This award recognizes an individual working in life sciences in BC who has demonstrated a significant contribution to the development of the sector. The award highlights the accomplishments of a person who has impacted and strengthened relationships with external supporters, advocating for the community. And so I think Gordon may have stolen my thunder a little bit, but this year's award winner is, drumroll please, Nancy Harrison. Nancy has been contributing to the BC life sciences sector for nearly 30 years. Her involvement has been instrumental in not only growing companies, but helping the sector thrive. As a partner at Ventures West, she was one of Canada's earliest life science-focused investors, making key and strategic investments in companies such as Angiotech, Anermed, Cellator, Xenon, and many others, impacting the sector's long-term growth in BC. She is also the former co-founder and president of MSI Methylation Sciences, a private company developing a treatment for depression that has now completed a phase 2 study. Nancy is a true innovator and demonstrates her dedication to Canadian biotech by also mentoring the next generation of companies and leaders through her roles at organizations that include Creative Destruction Lab, Admare, Canada's Digital Supercluster, and Knight Therapeutics. Now let's watch Nancy's video describing her journey in her own words.
I tried to take biology in high school, but I would always throw up or faint when I had to dissect the cat or the pig. I ended up becoming an engineer. I was the very first year they sent women to work on the oil rigs. And so I would take what other people might think of as barriers, you know, a very awkward situation living on an oil rig with a bunch of men, and instead I cooked them Christmas dinner. And I learned how to mix the mud, and I learned how to drive a forklift and do all that, and I loved that. One of my MBA profs was a guy named Jim Dewild, and he was a specialist in venture capital in the early 90s. And he taught me a technology startup class at McGill, and he was the one that introduced me to Mike Brown at Ventures West. So I'd have to say that Jim Dewild was the most influential professor I had in my career. I went from being an oil and gas engineer to managing to be a venture capitalist, building a life sciences practice where, you know, I didn't have a life sciences background. I made 25 investments in Canadian companies. One of the things I'm most proud of is that of those companies, 6 products were developed from human health. So as an early stage venture capitalist, those are pretty good odds. People talk about impact investing, and I can't imagine a place that you have better impact than to improve somebody's health. And that's what we do every day. And there are so many, I would say, maybe easier businesses to build, but somehow we're all bonded by the fact that that's our goal. I think we're right on the edge. I think it's why we're so excited. Those of us who have been in this industry for this long, we feel a sense of a critical mass, of what I like to call velocity, to where we can be self-fulfilling and we can run at the speed that we want to run at. We're right on the tipping point of that. The ROI in life sciences, we employ people at the top salaries, they're highly educated, and we do return money to our investors. What we don't do well is that we don't return enough of that to Canadians. is by the time the company gets sold or becomes public, Canadians tend to own less than 10%. That's not enough to take that velocity that I talked about and really accelerate our growth. And we need a little bit more investment of Canadian dollars before a company accesses international money or alongside international money.
So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nancy Harrison to accept the 2019 Milton Wong Award for Leadership.
Thank you very much, John. You may not know, but actually my first job in BC was doing technical reports for the BC Securities Commission. So it feels a little bit like full circle to me. As many of you know, and Gordon certainly mentioned, I'm not very good at being in the spotlight. Wendy was even joking with me earlier this week that I was trying to get out of doing the speech, and she wasn't wrong. This award is more a reflection of this vital industry and that I've had the honor to work in, and many of the individuals and teams that I've been blessed to work with. This award is particularly meaningful to me as Milton Wong was a family friend and someone that I knew through his work at SFU. In one of the articles describing Milton, they mentioned that he was innovative, tenacious, and that he sought to make the impossible possible. I'm quite frankly just honored to be mentioned in the same sentence as Milt. There are a lot of people I need to thank and who have helped me throughout my journey. There's so many that if I tried to mention them, we'd be here for the whole night or afternoon. My partners at Ventures West, who gave me a chance to forge a path in the life sciences sector, which seemed unlikely for a former oil and gas engineer with an MBA. My partners at MSI, who provided me that transition to an operating company. And my many mentors, Jim Dewild, Ron Cape, and all of the management teams and entrepreneurs that I've had the opportunity to work with. I've learned so much. I've appreciated all of your time, and I hope that you know that. And my family, my husband Paul, Jason, Malcolm, and Noah, who've all been so supportive, and basically, let's face it, just kind of put up with me. As many of you know, I'm deeply passionate and tenacious about our sector, maybe sometimes too much. I'm proud of where we have come from since I joined the community in 1993. Now, I'm that old, yet it's the future and where we're going as a community that I'm most excited about. The people, the technologies are world leading, and our life sciences community has become one of the true leaders and innovators in North America. The work that we do in the life sciences space is so important, yet few outside of our industry understand how really important it is. In my opinion, as you heard, we are the original social impact sector. What deeply inspires me more than anything, and what has been brought into a much sharper focus with the outbreak of COVID-19, is how many of you care so passionately about people and their health. I know that most of you have been working nonstop since the winter on various aspects of providing solutions during the pandemic, often unnoticed or under-recognized, and I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. This is a thriving industry in this province and across Canada, being built and grown by people who really care and want to make a difference. You've heard me and others talk about velocity and critical mass. We have a few additional pieces: space, supportive people, and capital. We all need to continue to advocate for. This push will take each of us working in our own ways to continue doing what each one of us do to achieve our collective goal. Let's continue to embody Milt and make the impossible possible. Thank you very much, Life Sciences BC and the community in BC. I greatly appreciate the award.
Thank you, Nancy. Very well done, and as always, amazingly inspiring. Nancy's an extraordinary leader, as you've all heard, and it's really wonderful to have the privilege to recognize her this year for the awards. I would now like to call upon Dr. John Shepard, Chair of the Board of Genome BC, to present the Genome BC Award for Scientific Excellence.
Thank you, Wendy. I'm honored to be here today virtually on behalf of Genome BC to present this award. Genome BC is a not-for-profit organization supporting world-class genomics research and innovation to a globally competitive life science sector and delivering sustainable benefits for BC, Canada, and beyond. Over the past 20 years, Genome BC has generated over $1.1 billion of investment into our province, and we are delighted to recognize local excellence as we do today with this award. Genome BC is dedicated to improving the lives of people throughout BC by advancing healthcare and addressing environmental and natural resource challenges. GBC also works hard to integrate genomics into society, supporting responsible research and innovation and fostering an understanding and appreciation of the life sciences amongst educators, students, and the public. The Genome British Columbia Award for Scientific Excellence is presented to an individual, group, or company who has received significant national and international recognition in the fields of genomics, proteomics, or bioinformatics systems biology in the past year. And this year's winner is Dr. Ali Carson. Dr. Carson is a clinician scientist at the BC Cancer Agency, whose research is focused on the molecular basis of myeloid malignancies. His research lab, which comprises a mix of wet lab and bioinformaticians, studies post-transcriptional mechanisms of resistance and relapse of these difficult to treat myeloid malignancies. His clinical interest centers on developing genomic methodologies and improving automation and quality assurance in clinical genomics. In 2010, Ali established the Center for Clinical Genomics, which in 2011 was the first accredited laboratory in Canada to use next-generation sequencing techniques to deliver clinical testing directly to clinicians for the benefit of patients. Dr. Carson has been invited to give over 140 presentations. He's an author on more than 165 publications and has mentored 43 trainees at the graduate or postdoctoral level. Now let's watch his video describing his journey in his own words.
Summer of my second year undergraduate, working with Dr. Brad White in the biology department at Queen's University. And the fact that you could actually see DNA and RNA just blew my mind. And we worked with fruit-like chromosomes. There was much less known about human genetics, but the future was apparent when I realized that I had to do something that involved investigation. You know, it's an honor, and it's really nice to be recognized. But I think in the end, the trainees who drive this, the people in the lab, and not just the trainees, there's other technologists and scientists who work together and really drive all of this forward. I see it as a recognition for a team of people who've done some incredible work. I'd like to see the people that come through my lab be able to make change in the world. I'm very proud of some of those trainees. They've all ended up in science, pretty much, in different aspects of science. Some in industry, a lot in academia, some in teaching or the medical profession. To have those people continue and keep doing good work, I think would be great. Genome BC and the BC Cancer Foundation both have been incredible supporters of the research we do. They've funded a lot of the work that's now been translated into the healthcare system, and I think they were both quite prescient in seeing this need when other funding sources weren't supporting the kind of work that we were doing. Genome BC was well ahead of the curve in funding clinical genomics. They recognized that this was going to be a thing, an important clinical approach to diagnostics, and they started funding this type of research well before anyone else in Canada and most people in the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to announce and ask to accept Dr. Ali Carson, the recipient of this year's Genome BC Award for Scientific Excellence. Congratulations, Ali.
Thank you, John. It's a great honor even to be considered for this award, and so thank you very much for the recognition. I've been very lucky to be surrounded by incredibly supportive colleagues at BC Cancer in general, but in particular the hematology community in the city. Even as a resident trainee in hematopathology many years ago, I was lucky to have mentors who are open and encouraging of my research interests. And I would count you, John Shepherd, as one of those among many who have provided me support and direction over the years. While scientific endeavors begin with inspiration, one has to also be lucky, and even more important, be willing to endure long hours. And the hard work really is done by the members of my lab, trainees, and staff. I've been blessed with people who are truly interested in science, really creative, and incredibly hardworking. We're lucky in Canada, and particularly in BC, to have a vibrant and innovative life sciences community. And several of these individuals and groups, too many to mention, have been strong collaborators over the years. Of course, none of the work could be done without funding from agencies that are willing to think ahead into the future. Genome BC and BC Cancer Foundation have been highly proactive in this regard, and were among the first anywhere to recognize that it was time to usher new technologies into the clinic. And they were willing to support various studies to make this happen, allowing patients in BC to be the first in Canada to receive clinical testing based on next-generation sequencing technologies. We are in an exciting but also challenging time. And I want to close by saying that now is the time to maintain and in fact increase investment in science. Not for me, but for the generation of young scientists who are struggling despite being brilliant, inspirational, and hardworking. I think we need to invest in our brightest young minds to retain them and to sustain and build on our knowledge economy to allow us to emerge out of the painful economic realities that we are now facing. And so thank you to LifeSciences BC and all the awardees for the work they do. And once again, thank you very much for this recognition.
Thank you, John, and congratulations, Ali. I'm now going to move to the next award, which is going to be presented by Dr. Eleanor Wilson. It is sponsored by the Michael Smith Foundation for Health Research. Eleanor?
Thank you so much, Wendy. The Aubrey J. Tingle Prize is awarded annually to a British Columbia clinician scientist whose work in health research is internationally recognized and has had a significant impact on both advancing research in their field and the uptake of this evidence. This both improves health and the health system. This year's winner is Dr. Paul Sorensen. I had the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Sorensen about his career and asked him to reflect on some of his most important lessons. He said he has learned that the vital importance of a clinician researcher is to bring basic and translational research together, keep an eye on the whole pipeline, and receive continuous feedback from patients. As a molecular pathologist and biologist specializing in pediatric cancers, this perspective has taken him on a journey where his discoveries have changed the way clinicians manage cancers. However, he didn't start out in molecular biology. Believe it or not, Paul initially wanted to be a biophysicist because he likes math. As part of his journey, he found his way into medicine and has always been interested in research and discovering new things. It's always been about discovery and doing something that no one else had done before. And discovery has led Paul to an esteemed career as a professor of pathology at UBC. He's an investigator with the BC Children's Hospital's Michael Cuccione Childhood Cancer Research Program, and he is a founding member of the AARC Pediatric Cancer Working Group. He is an internationally recognized research leader and mentor, sharing his excitement for research to guide the next generation of scientists and clinicians. He recently received the Bloom-Burton Award and has been elected as a Fellow of the Royal Society of Canada. Paul's accomplishments and his pursuit of discovery and doing something that no one else had done before has made a significant impact on advancing research and the uptake of this evidence to improve health and the health system in BC and globally. This is why he is so deserving of the Aubrey J. Tingle Award. Paul told me that we should never underestimate what research into rare diseases can link to and teach us about broader health issues. As one goes through the process and frustration of the day-to-day, that you must never forget to seek the truth and seek novelty as you are adding to global knowledge in what you do. Dr. Sorensen is obviously a man who lives by his words. Now let's watch Paul describe his journey.
I remember just being in the old UBC brick building and hearing all these fantastic professors talk about their work with such passion. I figured I wanted to be a part of that. Before university, there was a science teacher named Mr. Allen who sort of taught at an individual level. I spent a lot of time interacting with him after class, just talking about what he had gone over. And having that one-on-one with a guy that obviously had a background in science was really kind of instrumental in teaching me that you have to push a little harder to get the answers you want. And I think that cemented the idea of finding something that I'm passionate about and following up on it. I think I'm most proud of a finding we had about 20 years ago in a super rare childhood cancer called an NTRK fusion. We were the first to describe it as a recurrent genetic alteration in human cancers. And then we found it in breast cancer, others found it in leukemia, and now it's actually thought to be in 1% of all human tumors, maybe 25 different tumor types. This has led the pharmaceutical industry to make a really effective drug against it that helps patients all over the world. That's the most gratifying thing, that you work in the lab, you think no one's listening, and then something you discover actually has application and is beneficial to patients. Well, I met Aubrey Tingle when I think I was an undergrad or medical student, and he had a huge influence on me because here was a guy who was a bona fide clinician scientist, and we had discussions under elm trees down at the old Children's Hospital site. Is a really big deal to me. I mean, I'm just thrilled and honored to win this. I have such respect for Aubrey and all he's done for medical education and research in BC and internationally.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Paul Sorensen.
Hi, thank you, Eleanor. So, of course, it's a huge honor to win this award, particularly since it's named after someone I've always admired and who's been such a mentor to me and other clinician scientists in BC, Aubrey Tingle, and awarded by an organization, the Michael Smith Foundation, that's so important and supportive of biomedical research in BC. Thanks also to LifeSciences BC for putting on this wonderful and a little bit strange celebration. So let me start with just a small anecdote, which was kind of alluded to by Eleanor. As she said, when I was an undergrad, I really wanted to study biophysical membranes, but at that time I was running track and field, and one of my practice mates who had just gotten into medicine said, yeah, great topic, biophysics, but you'll never get a job and no girls will ever talk to you. So I kind of thought about it a little bit, and I thought, well, what about medicine? Because maybe with medicine I could sort of put together my love for science with doing something that was actually important to patients. And so that's what I ended up doing. I managed to get into med school, did a path residency, and then a PhD in biochemistry. And along the way, I really learned that by having a medical background, we could really focus down as a researcher on the type of research that could answer clinically relevant questions. And so I think that's what this award typifies. Aubrey Tingle is a trophy bearer for the whole idea of supporting and encouraging clinician scientists to dedicate themselves to biomedical science and to have protected time to do so. So none of what I've managed to do would ever have happened without my many research team members. And I really want to, of course, thank the many team members wherever they are, and hopefully some of them are even at the lab at BC Cancer Agency working right now as we speak, making exciting new discoveries. I also want to thank my wonderful colleagues over the years many of whom are also clinician scientists working in BC, and thanks for being there when we've needed to have a beer together to commiserate about our failed grant applications. I also absolutely have to thank my family, my wife Carmen, my son Derek, and of course my daughter Annika, who even as a young kid has had to put up with her father sometimes being grumpy, oh, that third reviewer, sometimes happy, yay, they like our work, flying all over the world pretending to be important. Without them and their support, this whole exercise would have been pretty empty. So I want to leave you with another story. As you saw in the video, we made this discovery many years ago of these NTRK fusions, which are now present in many different tumors, and the pharma industry has developed a very effective drug for it. So this is great from a gratifying from a scientific point of view, but I really want to leave you with this letter I got from earlier this year from a parent, which really brings home what I've been trying to say today. So let me just read this to you. Dear Dr. Sorensen, I hope this email finds you well. I would like to give you a gift of thanks. In March of 2018, my 16-year-old daughter was diagnosed at Boston Children's Hospital with a brain tumor, and it is a very rare cancer called anaplastic ganglioma. After 2 brain surgeries and 33 rounds of radiation, the cancer grew again. I'm a kindergarten teacher 20 minutes outside of Boston, and I decided to give MS tissues to genetic testing in hope of maybe helping another family down the road. Never did I think that this would help my child. The doctor at Dana-Farber told us that Emma's tumor had the NTRK fusion and that they were going to try a new drug that just became approved that year instead of surgery. She's been on Vitractvi, that's the name of the drug, for 1 year and is now 18. She just graduated from high school and will attend college at Providence College at Rhode Island. She looks and feels amazing. She was able to finish high school at the top of her class because of your research. She would like to study radiology and give back to patients. Thank you for having an idea and following it through. It truly is a miracle for my daughter. I guess the only thank you I can give you, or the only gift I can give you, is a thank you. But please know that I came across your name and I'll pray for you every day. Your work is truly a gift. Thank you, Dr. Sorensen, and may you continue to have new ideas. So I don't know anything that could be more gratifying than to get this kind of feedback from the community. And so in closing, thanks again for this wonderful award, and let's keep the pressure on to keep making new discoveries. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, and congratulations. I really want to thank you for sharing that story with us. It really, we're all working hard every day to grow our ecosystem, but it all actually is about improving patients' lives. And so thank you for helping us be able to see so well, you know, what happens in the lab and how it actually does impact patients on a day-to-day basis, because that's really what it is all about. I also want to thank Eleanor and the Michael Smith Foundation for Health Research for enabling us all to celebrate your amazing work and hear that story. We're now going to move on to the Deal of the Year Award, which is sponsored by Canaccord Genuity, and I'd like to welcome Jamie Brown to come and introduce that award.
Thank you to Wendy and all our friends at the Life Science BC ecosystem. The senior partners of our firm are very pleased to participate once again this year. Founded in Vancouver, Canaccord Genuity is Canada's largest independent investment bank with global capital market operations in Canada, US, Europe, Middle East, and Asia, and a wealth management arm now approaching 70 billion in assets under management or administration. With over 10 dedicated life science research analysts and over a dozen senior investment bankers, Canaccord continues to expand our platform in life science, transacting in the areas of healthcare, IT, diagnostics, devices, biotech, and of course, specialty pharma. This has translated into our firm being a top 10 global equity underwriter in 2020. And we are very proud to be associated and privileged really to help support exciting new drug development and therapies from the entrepreneurs and academics. We're very active in this sector and more to come. We've completed over 320 equity financings since 2010. So enough about us. The Deal of the Year award isn't just about a big financial win, but that helps. It honors the province's most significant life science deal, a deal that has demonstrated excellence in M&A and transactions and has leveraged an opportunity to accelerate the corporate goals and vision of the company. This award honors an individual or an organization that over the last 12 months has positively impacted the life science sector in BC. Organizations eligible to win this award include, but are not limited to, there is law, finance, accounting, economic development, incubation, clinical research, and consulting. This award is also open to significant collaborations, transactions, or innovations that have taken place with companies in the life sciences sector. And this year's winner, Deal of the Year award, is Xenon Pharmaceuticals. Xenon is a clinical stage biopharma company committed to developing innovative therapeutics to improve the lives of patients with neurological disorders, rare central nervous system conditions. Xenon is advancing a novel product pipeline of neurology therapies to address areas of high unmet medical need with a focus on epilepsy. Now let's watch our awards winners video.
So the journey began probably close to 20 years ago now in the lab of Dr. Michael Hayden, where I was a clinical research fellow. And we made a very interesting discovery, a genetic mechanism that rendered their HDL cholesterol levels almost undetectable. Pfizer, one of the big pharmaceutical companies, called us up and asked us to partner on the program. Spun out Xenon at that time. We were called Xenon Genetics in the early days. And from that really developed, I would say, a leading platform in gene discovery, which was the early basis of the company. So really, I figured out we were on the right track at Xenon when we made a very interesting discovery about 10 years ago. Children who didn't feel pain, we studied, and we found a particular mutation in a gene that, when defective, rendered these kids completely unable to perceive pain. And so we started as a company to really get interested in these sodium channels, the function of these channels in the nervous system. And from that has allowed us to build what is, I believe today, the leading capability in terms of small molecule drug discovery targeting ion channels in the industry anywhere in the world today. I remember my mother telling me when I was a kid, I taught myself to learn to ride a bike. I would spend days coming into the house in the evening, just battered and bruised, falling off the bike and bruised all over, but eventually got it. You know, I think ultimately what drives me at Xenon, however, has been the goal of the company. This is really to develop novel medicines for people with devastating neurological diseases. And as a physician and scientist, this is very, very important to me. It's about the quality of the drugs we can bring to market and the lives that we can improve. And we'll be a successful company if we do that well. And I really believe that that drives everyone at the company today. And it gets us through what are many very challenging times in our business. This award is really important for the company. What this deal enables, I think, is the ability to parallel track many different products, which we couldn't have done on our own, to enhance the likelihood of getting these products to the market for children with severe early onset epilepsies and adults with very refractory severe epilepsies. And that, for me, the recognition of that is really, really important. And I know it will be to the team as well.
Great. And I'm just sorry I can't be present to personally award this exciting award, because the CEO of the recipient company is someone I call a client, a friend, and a fellow Arsenal Football Club supporter. Without further ado, Dr. Simon Pimstone.
Thank you very much, Jamie, and that's the best introduction I could get, particularly the Arsenal reference. So thanks to you and Canaccord, thanks to Wendy and the staff and board at LifeSciences BC for your amazing work all year and for keeping our community connected and in honoring our traditions in putting on today's event. This is, and I've wanted to say this for a while, this is virtually an excellent event, Wendy. I actually will, before I go on, I did want to also echo one of the earlier recipients. Congratulations to all of today's recipients. And we at Xenon are very proud to be in such great company and and also to be in the company of such great friends. So I'm honored to accept this award, but particularly so as I accept it on behalf of my colleagues at Xenon, whose work really it was to enable this Life Sciences BC Deal of the Year category award. The deal team was led by Robin Sherrington, with great support from Alex Helper, Emmy Vallée, and Ian Mortimer. But let's also not forget that behind the deal negotiations, the benchmarking analytics, the legal drafting, is years and years of R&D support to generate the data that ultimately supports a deal like this. So a big shout out to our clinical team led by Ernesto Arcadi, and our discovery team led by Jim Emfield, and to a wonderful past colleague at Xenon, Charlie Cohen, who led our sodium channel program for many years before retiring from Xenon in 2019. And thanks to those incredible colleagues at Xenon, past and present, and of course to all their families who've shared their loved ones' hearts and minds with us. I'd like to take a moment to also recognize our deal partner, Neurochrome Biosciences, a NASDAQ-listed pharmaceutical company based in San Diego. Today, Neurochrome has a reputation as one of the leading neurology-focused companies in the world, with one of the most successful neurology product launches of all time in Ingrezza, a drug used effectively to treat tardive dyskinesia. What particularly drew us to Neurochrome were three key attributes. They are a focused neurology company with deep bench strength and capacity. They're an outstanding group of scientists, drug developers, and more importantly, very good people. And thirdly, and something that one may not typically ascribe as a key attribute in a pharma partner, they've experienced the downs of biotech and represent one of the greatest examples of how persistence and perseverance can pay great dividends in our industry. They've worked hard to earn their stripes, and they understand companies on that trajectory, companies like Xenon, because they have walked in our shoes. And in negotiating the deal and in our diligence, there was a very clear and very strong cultural alignment between Xenon and Neurochrome, something that I value deeply in a partner. A shared belief system and a common ethic are critical enablers of partnership success. I'm grateful to our colleagues at Neurochrome for the faith they've shown in us and for the belief they offer companies like ours, that hard work and many years of it, as well as perseverance, is often needed in our business. So the question is, why is it worth the wait, and why is it worth all the risk? And to answer this, I'm actually not going to describe our deal economics. These are disclosed publicly. They do represent, as far as we're aware, the largest pre-commercial epilepsy deal ever done. However, to answer why it's worth the long wait in biotech, I'll briefly outline the partnership goals. The initial focus of the collaboration is the development of a novel small molecule drug for the treatment of a rare pediatric epilepsy known as SCN8A, developmental encephalopathic epilepsy, or SCN8A-DEE. SCN8A is a gene that encodes the NaV1.6 sodium channel, a key excitatory channel in the brain. And children born with gain-of-function mutations in the sodium channel develop very early onset severe seizures, with many affected children going on to develop a severe encephalopathy, where apart from seizures, development is delayed and cognition and intellect can be markedly impaired. Children with SCN8A-DEE quite frequently die of SUDEP, or sudden unexplained death of epilepsy. We partnered with Neurochrome on a number of molecules that we've developed and that potently and selectively block this channel. Our lead molecule has advanced through phase 1 trials in healthy volunteers, and with Neurochrome, we're now looking to advance this product into an SCN8A-DEE phase 2 trial in the nearest possible timeframe. This molecule is a coming of age, so to speak, of precision medicine in epilepsy. With this novel, selective, and highly targeted strategy, we believe these compounds may have the potential to not only manage seizures associated with this form of epilepsy, but may have the potential to treat the other more devastating consequences of the severe neurological degenerative disorder. Doing so would be a first. Improving developmental outcomes in epilepsy has never ever been achieved before. So I'm humbled to accept this award, and I do so on behalf of my Xenon and Neurochrome colleagues. And we do so in recognition of all the remarkable families with children with SCN8A-DEE, many of whom we now know, we've met, we've had dinner with, and we've been inspired by. Michael Hammer, a close friend and geneticist in Arizona, was the first to identify mutations in the SCN8A gene underlying this condition. What's remarkable about Mike's story was that the mutation he identified explained the epilepsy and sudden unexplained death in his beautiful teenage daughter, Shay. Mike diagnosed the first case of SCN8A DEE in his own child after she died. Through our mutual work in this field, Mike has become a friend, and through Mike's incredible work, Shay's legacy lives on and moves us. So for us at Xenon, that's why biotech is worth the wait. And that's why we believe it is worth the investment. It may be different for all of us, but for Xenon, it's because working in rare diseases is a privilege. And in working on developing a novel medicine for children with a disease like SCN8A, we are reminded of the immense responsibility we have assumed. I'm not a religious man, but I do feel blessed with this responsibility. So this award reinforces this awesome privilege, and it reminds all of us at Xenon that this arduous path is worth every step we take. We are thankful to the SCN8A children and to their families for helping us in our quest. So thank you very much for this kind award. Back to you.
Thank you, Simon. Simon is a true leader within our community. He has not only been doing what he's just been describing, but also taking a leadership role in the community through COVID and helping coordinate the efforts. So thank you, Simon. As always, very inspirational. I often question if you ever sleep, actually, with everything that you take on, and we're very fortunate to have you as a leader within our community. Thank you also, Jamie and Canaccord Genuity for sponsoring that award. We're now going to move into the Emerging Life Sciences Company of the Year. And this award is sponsored by AstraZeneca and will be presented by Alias Alopoulos. Now, I'm going to ask him to say his name when he speaks because he tried to train me to say it earlier and I knew I would mess it up. So I'm very apologetic, and I will turn it over to you now.
Thank you, Wendy, and thank you to Life Sciences BC, and it is Elias Iliopoulos. So I know it's a lot of vowels in that in those two names. There's perhaps never been a more exciting period of time when it comes to great new medical advances and discoveries. From expanding our understanding about the complexities of disease, to driving much earlier diagnosis, to the discovery and development of breakthrough, targeted, and precision therapies. At AstraZeneca, science is in our DNA and at the core of everything we do. As one of the country's leading biopharmaceutical companies, we are a science-led organization that pushes the boundaries of science to deliver life-changing medicines and transform the treatment of diseases like asthma, diabetes, cancer, and many more. This unwavering belief and focus on the power of science is why I'm excited to announce the winner of this year's Emerging Life Sciences Company of the Year award. This award recognizes the life sciences company in British Columbia whose accomplishments stood out in 2019 with a strong overall performance. This performance may be measured by achieving major milestones such as moving the business from an early stage to a more mature company, or by raising significant funds, launching a product on the market, and or achieving or nearing commercial success. I'm proud to announce that this year's recipient is Chinook Therapeutics, who is a global leader in developing precision medicines to treat kidney diseases. Kidney diseases are a severe and growing problem worldwide with a lack of effective treatments, often leading to dialysis, transplantation, and high costs to healthcare systems. At Chinook, they are focused on developing therapeutics for rare severe kidney disorders with defined and rapid clinical development pathways. Their lead program, atrasentan, is a late-stage clinical program for the treatment of primary glomerular kidney diseases. Chinook plans to initiate a phase 3 clinical trial of atrasentan in early 2021 for biomarker-selected IgA nephropathy patients at high risk for progressive kidney function loss. In June, Chinook announced a proposed merger with a publicly traded biotech, which expands the company's pipeline and resources. The merger is anticipated to close by the end of 2020 with an expected greater than $275 million in capital, which includes a recently announced $115 million in financing. Now let's watch our award winners video describing their journey in their own words.
So Chinook was founded by a group of scientists here in Vancouver that had been working with Versant Ventures as part of their in-house discovery team. And Tom actually got involved with them early on to try and figure out an area for them to focus on and where there was unmet medical need and where they thought they could really impact patient care.
At Inception Sciences was a really highly talented drug discovery team. Most of them had worked together for nearly up to 20 years, mainly focused on medicinal chemistry and small molecule drug development. But Versant Ventures wanted to take them from being an incubation team to a full-born biotech company and really use that core capability to address an area of very high unmet need. We ended up landing on kidney disease. In the US, over $100 billion a year is spent on either dialysis or transplant. Despite that fact, there's very few drugs that prevent the progression of kidney disease.
Regulators are aware that there are so few drugs for these patients with kidney disease that they're getting more flexible about surrogate endpoints. With these changes in the regulatory pathways, it's much more efficient and you can do more rapid trials in kidney disease, which is much needed. Well, the company just got founded in early 2019, so we only really have 1 year of history. But we accomplished a lot last year. We had a really steep trajectory from being founded to raising a $65 million Series A financing to moving our first internal program to the point of almost being a development candidate, about a year away from IND. And then also we in-licensed a drug from AbbVie called atrasentan, a potential phase 3 asset.
On a very simple level, we just raised $65 million, and my personal goal is to try to spend as much of that as possible here in the province.
Canada is a really important area for us to invest in. As a Canadian-based company, we're working with some of the key medical centers in Canada. We intend to do clinical trials here, and we also intend to launch the drug here. Well, it's great to be recognized in our hometown of Vancouver as an emerging company. It really has been a fast trajectory for us, so to get this recognition in the first year that we're in business is really a testament to the great work that Tom and the Inception team has done.
And for a time, all of the companies that were spun out of Inception were named after a wind. So we just naturally thought we're going to be named after a Canadian wind.
We're not a fish and we're not a helicopter.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Tom Froelich, Chief Business Officer, Chinook Therapeutics, for Emerging Life Sciences Company of the Year Award winner.
Great. Thanks, Elias, for that very kind introduction. It's great to see a video from back in the days when Eric and I were pre-COVID getting haircuts. A lot has changed since then. But it is a great pleasure to accept this award on behalf of the entire Chinook team. As Eric very nicely described in the video, Chinook was founded really with a mission to bring new medicines to patients with kidney disease. Kidney disease, as we described, is just a massive unmet need, and it's really unrecognized and underserved. If you think about a stat that's very little known, but a patient who ends up on dialysis actually has a worse prognosis than somebody who's diagnosed with metastatic cancer. Survival rates are less than 50% at 5 years. So we feel extremely driven to bring new therapies to this area. It has been challenging, kidney disease historically, but we believe there's many new advances that are allowing us to roll out that precision medicine playbook that was so successfully developed in oncology and now apply that to kidney disease. As you can see from the video, it's been a very exciting time since we were launched in January 2019. Actually, even since the video that was back earlier this year, we made many new developments and continue that steep growth trajectory. By next, we started in 2019. You saw some video of the offices and labs there. We were quite a small research-focused team, and now by the end of next year, we anticipate having 4 clinical programs, including a phase 3. 4 clinical trials across three programs, as well as a very healthy early stage research program that's here in Vancouver. Also, as you heard Elias say in the intro, in the middle of this year, we announced a merger and a financing, which have us on track to be a publicly NASDAQ listed company by the end of the year, with sufficient capital to drive us through many meaningful endpoints, over $275 million of capital accessible to us. This company has really been a testament to everybody on the team. And I know a lot of people are listening on the line today. And I really hope the whole Chinook team can pause and think about what a fast moving success this has been, but what a lot of work we have to do. But I really hope we can all take a moment and a few people I do want to call out specifically. One is Gerald Davis from Versant Ventures. He's someone who put so much energy, so much momentum, also a lot of capital into the company very, very early on. Brought in some other high quality investors as well, Appletree and Samsara to launch the company, but has really put a lot of his energy and muscle into this, and the company would not have been started without Gerald. I should also thank probably his wife, Chana, who's responsible for bringing him up here to Vancouver and actually helping deploy that Versant infrastructure and capital across Canada. I think the whole ecosystem in Canada has benefited from Gerald and his presence here. Do also want to thank a couple of people in particular within Chinook, a couple of the research team that were really instrumental early on in defining the company and scoping out where we were going to work. So people from that Inception group that we mentioned, Renato Obala, Dave Powell, Jen Cox, as well as Andrew King, who joined very shortly after, and then a number of the development regulatory BD people have joined, like Natalie Masterton, Valerie Favel, Allison Gaw. It's really been a group effort to get this going. Also, obviously need to point out Eric, who was in that video. He's our CEO. He's our tireless leader. I think it was James who mentioned, he's at the top, really driving things forward. Very early on, he sat in the pilot seat of this rocket ship, and we've been taking off ever since. Lastly, just want to thank Wendy and the LSBC team. What a tremendous job you guys do pulling the community together. We couldn't do it without the support of the community here, whether it's academics at UBC or the other institutions that give us that renal knowledge, colleagues, fellow drug discoverers who give us tips on how to approach problems, or even just colleagues and friends who give us office space from time to time when we're growing faster than where we know to put people. It's just great to do business here in Vancouver, and we're really proud to be part of the community. And thanks to LSBC for the award. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom, and to your entire team. You guys have had an amazing year. While I think about all of the awards that we're giving out today, it's interesting because, of course, we thought we would have this event in April, and I don't even know whether I would call Chinook an emerging company anymore, given the rapid fire growth you've been on. So congratulations to you and the team. It's been extraordinary. And I'd like to move now to the Medical and Digital Technology Company of the Year Award. It's sponsored by St. Paul's Foundation and Providence Healthcare, and is going to be presented by Dr. Daryl Knight. Daryl?
Thanks, Wendy, and I'm delighted to be here in amongst the thought leaders and innovators that have been presenting today. It's quite an astounding array of great people to be emerged with, and I thank you. Excuse me. I haven't got COVID, but I do actually have smoke inhalation problems in my breathing. So just excuse me. I shouldn't have ridden my bike today. It is a really exciting time for me to be back in Vancouver and at Providence. It's also challenging as we exist under the umbrella or the cloud of a global pandemic. But I think the opportunities are enormous that lie before us. In fact, I think the pandemic has actually accelerated the innovation that is going on in the province, and it's great to be part of that. It's an energizing force. One of the technologies that Providence is really engaged with and embraced is virtual care, and we've developed virtual care offerings which I think have benefited our patients and our clinicians across the province in kidney and heart care, adult cystic fibrosis, and the Provincial Eating Disorders Program, to name but a few. And I'm actually delighted to say that Providence is even offering the province's first and only virtual prenatal classes. One of the most exciting aspects of this pivot to virtual care, though, is the capacity to reach throughout the province to remote and rural areas. And one great example of this acceleration of an intelligent network is for point-of-care ultrasound. or we call it POCUS. And it's a PHC-led project involving 5 partners, including small and medium-sized companies, and funded through the Digital Technology Supercluster. So it's been an amazing way that we can partner with industry to develop better healthcare solutions throughout the province. As many of you may know, Providence Healthcare, with the support of the St. Paul's Foundation, we've sold our venerable old building in downtown Vancouver, and we have a plan to build a brand new campus at the Jim Patterson Medical Centre and the Hospital of the Future, which will be attached to a world-class research building, which will be attached in subsequent developments to health innovation hubs and expansion space. And this will enable us to be more completely engaged in a virtuous cycle of healthcare excellence. Importantly, I think the new St. Paul's is a cornerstone of an innovation precinct in the Falls Creek Flats neighbourhood. And we're viewing it as a magnet to attract and grow BC companies in life sciences, biotechnology, informatics, AR, VR, and all aspects of digital health. And I think the impact of this will resonate well beyond the new campus. Importantly, it will create opportunities for life-changing innovation from companies like Canary Medical, which are the winners of this year's Medical Digital Technology Company of the Year award. This award is presented to an early stage life science company, which, although not yet achieving commercial success, has demonstrated outstanding performance and has realized its significant milestones. In short, a company that is well positioned for future commercial success. The winning company must also be headquartered in and have the majority of its operations in BC. It should have a proven ability to secure capital, as well as hold a key market position, opportunity, and or a strategic advantage. The winner of this award must also be positioned to achieve strong business results in the future. And of course, all of these descriptors apply aptly to Canary Medical. The company was founded in 2012 by President and CEO Dr. Bill Hunter, Chief Technical Officer Dr. Jeff Gross, and Dr. Fred Kushner, an orthopedic surgeon at New York's Hospital for Special Surgery. It had been observed that patient participation in their post-operative recovery program was critical to outcomes. Doctors Hunter and Kushner sought to remove the lack of compliance from the equation by developing an autonomous implant. And as a result, Canary Medical was formed. The company gathers medical data through continuous collection, analysis, and monetization of data derived from proprietary smart medical devices. These devices self-report on function, diagnostic information, patient activity, side effects, and treatment failure for up to 20 years. And these are all critical components in managing successful patient outcomes. Embedding sensors in the implants will take off the burden of information gathering and will increase the odds that the data will be used in ways that meet the requirements for reimbursement. And this is precision medicine at its finest. Now let's watch our award winners video describing their journey in their own words.
We live in an era where everything's connected to the internet, where your car knows when the brake pads are worn out, where it is, what it's doing. And yet every day we put in billions of dollars worth of life-saving medical devices and they provide absolutely no feedback. My youngest child just was in a bad accident. He's going to be fine and everything. But when he walked out the doors of VGH, it was incredibly terrifying to not have any way of knowing what was going on, what the problems were, and I'm a doc. Back to the car analogy, we've gone from beeping systems to backup cameras to smart cars that park themselves. And so what was initially a feature is now expected. People wouldn't buy the car without it. I think that's what's going to happen with devices. I think patients will want to know what's going on in their body. Physicians will want to know how to monitor their patients away from home. This is just the next obvious step in the evolution of patient care. One of my founders, Michael Rayner, has a phrase that says being early is as good as being wrong. We were really early, so we were wrong a lot. We had to put our own money in. We had to build everything ourselves to start. It took a long time before other people bought into the vision. We should be on the market with our first product, a talking knee, this year. the more severe the problem, the more valuable feedback becomes. And so we started with orthopedics for a bunch of technical reasons, so we'll make tucking knees and hips and shoulders, but eventually we'll move into trauma, we'll move into other things. And I'm an old cardiovascular guy, so ultimately stents, heart valves, all those types of things where patients can actually see how they're doing and hopefully have early warning systems like a canary if anything goes wrong. You know, I think this is all part of patient democratization, where it's less about the hospital, it's less about the physician, and it's more about the patient taking control of their own health and recovery. And I think having the data and the feedback to do that is going to be a really important next step. I went to grad school here, I went to med school here. My co-founders of my first company were all from here. I mean, this is home, it's always been home, and I hope we can recapture the glory in our sector that we deserve. We have great university, we have great researchers, we have great commercial talent, but we seem to be missing the elements that get us to the next level.
Well, I think I'm going to be one of the early candidates for one of your new knees there, Bill, so I would love to invite you to come up and accept your award.
Thank you very much. I'd actually like to start by saying thank you to Wendy and LifeSciences BC. You guys really are the glue that holds this entire thing together and reminds me and reminds all of us that we are a community here. And it's really wonderful to see everybody that is, have I lost? Hello?
We can hear you.
Okay, all right. It's really wonderful to see the community come together, and almost everybody that has been on today I have known and seen for many, many years. I do want to take a couple seconds to say thank you to Nancy Harrison. We don't get to see the videos until they come on, so I hadn't seen the Angiotech reference, but without Nancy, wouldn't have gotten started, and so thank you. But you know, nothing says perseverance to LifeSciences BC like running and somehow making this all work in the middle of a pandemic. But this is a company award, and it's really exciting for me. They say that there's 2 points in life where people typically start companies. The first is from your Harvard dorm room, and the second is when you're in your 50s. Suffice to say, I never went to Harvard. But instead, I had the really wonderful pleasure of gathering together people that I had worked with or met or come across through 30 years in this crazy business that we all love, and that's how Canary was born. David McMasters, Fred Kushner, Jeff Gross, Michael Rayner, they worked for free and they fed their families by keeping their day jobs, and somehow made this all happen. They foolishly took my call and decided to sign on to something that was really completely novel. The concept that you could take these medical devices that are life-saving products in and of themselves and allow them to connect to the world. That sensors, power, and transmission technologies could be combined to allow devices to self-report, to tell you about their function, to tell you about their wear, their side effects, and their activity for many, many years. As was mentioned, our first product is a talking knee, and it is getting ready to be launched in just a few months in the US. It will be on the best-selling knee product in the world and launched by the largest orthopedic company in the world. And I think we're really excited to see what more interactive management of patients can look like, and being able to tell what's going on and being able to see how our patients are doing. Seemed like a really, really simple idea. Sounded actually pretty easy. Typically it wasn't. And just for the people out there who are starting on their career, I guess as I'm not in the Harvard dorm room category, if there's an arrogance of youth, I'd say we experienced what I would call the hubris of age. We thought that everybody was going to just love this idea and that it was going to be easy to fund, and it made perfect sense, and we couldn't have been more wrong. Nobody wanted to fund it initially, it seemed. Despite all the things that I learned about there's many no's on the way to yes, it really did seem pretty daunting.
And I had a lot of people who said, you know, if you ever start another company, you know, just give me a call, we'll be there. And, you know, that didn't happen. And so we funded it ourselves, and friends and family and people I knew came together and made it all happen. And I think this was really, really important. And it was local people who stepped up. It was 2 local venture capital groups. It was Karima El-Sabar at Cork, and it was Brenda Irwin at Relentless. And they gave us the money to go to the next level. And as did one dear old friend, Jeremy from Bioscience Managers, they did the same. And that made it all possible. And with that simple step, and why we always talk about in this industry, how it's important to have critical mass, it's important to have funding. Thank you, Canaccord and others who funded me over the years for the same reason. That's what allows us to bring in these scientists and engineers and computer scientists. And we took a drawing on a napkin and we turned it into an FDA breakthrough device. And so, you know, perhaps we can sense problems inside the body's coal mine. And I think what you've heard today from other folks is that actually that is why we all do this. We do this to take ideas and dreams and turn them into devices, treatments, therapies. And I'm just so fortunate to be surrounded by people personally and professionally that have allowed me to make that happen. So the Canary journey has been absolutely tremendous. I feel blessed to have a second chance to go through the pain and suffering of a startup and growing it from here. And I'm just incredibly grateful for this province and the place that I've called home since I came to UBC. And again, to LifeSciences BC for keeping us all together, even in the middle of a pandemic, and reminding us exactly why we all do this. So thank you very much. And Canary thanks you very much.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you, Daryl, and the team at St. Paul's Foundation and Providence Health for sponsoring that. Many of you know that I have a deep and great passion for data, so I'm extremely excited to see products that are bringing medical device technology and data together. So we'll look forward to watching the journey. Our final award is the Dr. Don Ricks Lifetime Achievement Award, and it is sponsored by Janssen. And to join, Jorge Bartolome is going to be joining us to present this award. Jorge?
Perfect. Thank you, Wendy. And I'm relatively new to Canada, so it's a real pleasure to meet all of you virtually today and to take part in tonight's program, celebrating the achievements of BC life science community. As president of Janssen Canada, I lead a team working to treat, cure, stop, and prevent some of the most complex diseases of our time. I'm particularly proud of the progress that we're making to develop a COVID-19 vaccine and to support Canadian patients impacted by the pandemic. Today, I'm honored to present the Dr. Don Ricks Award to this year's winner. This award is given to an individual whose contributions may be a new innovation, new knowledge, or ways to improve professional practice. I'm pleased to announce that this year's award goes to John Babcock. John is the Senior Vice President, Discovery Research at Zymeworks. For over 25 years, John has made significant contributions to the international biopharmaceutical industry. He helped pioneer the development of novel antibody generating technology known as the Select Lymphocyte Antibody Method, or SLAM, which is used to efficiently interrogate immune B-cell repertoires to identify and rescue optimal therapeutic antibody candidates. Based on this technology, John co-founded Imgenix Pharmaceuticals in 1998. In 2000, Imgenix was acquired by Abgenix, which was subsequently acquired in 2006 by Amgen. And that is a mouthful. John led the Canadian research team at Imgenix and Abgenix and Amgen, respectively, from 1998 to 2010, and went on to establish the Biologics Division at the Center for Drug Research and Development, where he served as Vice President Biologics, in addition to becoming the founding president and chief scientific officer at Kairos Therapeutics. While at Kairos, he was responsible for the development of its ADC platform and therapeutic pipeline and formed multiple collaborations, including the strategic partnership and the merger with Zymeworks. John has participated in the development of more than 100 therapeutic antibody-based programs, several of which are now approved by the FDA for treatment. He has worked passionately to provide return on investments in Canada and ultimately serve patients. He has also served as an adjunct professor in molecular biology and biochemistry at Simon Fraser University. He is the recipient of an honorary doctorate from the British Columbia Institute of Technology and the recipient of the LifeSciences BC Innovation and Achievement Award. In 2019, Zymeworks was awarded Best ADC Platform Technology from World ADC, a platform John was instrumental in creating. He has left his mark in the sector as an esteemed scientist, generous supporter, and collaborator over the decades. BC is very fortunate to have him as a strong contributor in the pursuit of not only science, but excellent science here in his home province. In his professional pursuits, he has served as a mentor, as an innovator, as a champion, but most importantly, as a friend to the life science community. Personally, I can also attest to how proud Janssen and Johnson & Johnson are to be partnering with John and Zymeworks through our 2017 agreement. I would like everyone to please welcome John Babcock, this year's winner of the Dr. John Ricks Award for Lifetime Achievement. Now let's watch our award winner's video describing his journey in his own words.
I was on a 4-year sailing trip through the South Pacific when I was younger, 19 to 24 years old, with my parents. We did charters out to the largest uninhabited island in the world off Costa Rica, and for a year we took ornithologists who were studying the Cocos Island finch. And it was very fascinating to meet all the scientists with National Geographic and Dartmouth University, and I thought it'd be really interesting to become a scientist and hopefully apply it towards making the world a better place. I was in the very first class that it was being offered at BCIT, the biotech program, and our head instructor was Dr. Paul Barron. I was very impressed with discussions about how we could apply these learnings towards improving healthcare, treatment of people, and building industry here in Canada. And that's what I've tried to do ever since. I've been very tenacious, both scientifically, in the early days, 25 years ago, trying to develop this single-cell approach to high-throughput screening and development of therapeutic antibodies. Nobody had done that before, and it was technically quite challenging at the time. People thought I was wasting my time. Through tenacious effort, and a lot of work, we were able to optimize that system into a very reproducible, high-throughput approach that now, 25 years later, is pretty much dominating the space in therapeutic antibodies. Based on those technologies, 4 years ago, merged with Zymeworks through an acquisition. And since then, we've taken both technologies that were the strengths of each company, bispecific antibodies and the ADC platform, to create a novel therapeutic that's now in the clinic in phase 1 trials. What I tell young people is just don't be a passive player in life. There'll be times when you have influence and can steer your own course and hopefully have a meaningful impact here locally as well.
I am honored to welcome John to the stage to accept the 2020 Dr. Don Ricks Lifetime Achievement Award. John?
Thank you. It's a true honor to be the recipient of this year's LifeSciences BC Don Ricks Lifetime Achievement Award. I'm truly grateful for this distinguished recognition. Although this is an individual award, advancements in science rely on foundational knowledge that others before us have established. And it's important to recognize prior contributions to the field from which we move forward. To successfully develop therapeutics, it requires teamwork, with contributions from a multitude of individuals with specialized skills and experience. I've been fortunate to work with many talented colleagues over the years. at the Biomedical Research Center, ImGenix, AbGenix, Amgen British Columbia, Innovative Targeting Solutions, Admari CDRD, SFU, UBC, BC Cancer Agency, TFRI, Kairos Therapeutics, and of course, most recently, Zymeworks. Their passion, creativity, hard work, and can-do attitude have helped establish a vibrant biotech ecosystem that has ultimately led to the development of therapies to serve patients in need, improving their quality of life and ability to spend more time with their loved ones. I'm proud of our local life sciences community that supports one another to help establish and grow companies, bridge academia with industry, and promote the advancement of cutting-edge science to improve human health while providing fulfilling careers and mentorship to those who are committed to advancing solutions to human health needs. I'd like to thank the government for their support of high-quality public education and funding to advance basic and translational science. With the challenges we are facing, from climate change to viral pandemics, we need to teach and promote more critical thinking and science-based approaches to identify logical solutions to overcome these challenges and make the world a better place for future generations. At Zymeworks, we are excited to continue on our mission to innovate, collaborate, act with integrity and care, to ultimately send patients home to their families disease-free. Thank you to LifeSciences BC for this recognition and all the work that has gone into organizing and hosting this event. I wish we could all be together in person to celebrate our collective achievements, but that will likely have to wait until we have a safe and effective vaccine, at which point I look forward to being with you and raising a glass. Thank you.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Jorge. So this now brings us towards the end of our formal event. I want to thank you all for joining us, and thank you for the support that you give LifeSciences BC. Without it, we couldn't do what we do. We appreciate everyone's openness and flexibility about trying out a virtual awards event and are really pleased with the amount of people that attended. I want to thank our sponsors, our presenting sponsor, FARRIS, who has been the originator of this, as we've already talked, and our award sponsors, AstraZeneca, BC Securities Commission, Canaccord Genuity, Genome BC, Janssen, Michael Smith Foundation for Health Research, and St. Paul's Foundation and Providence Health. I also want to thank the LifeSciences BC staff. As many have referenced, we pivoted very quickly and turned to virtual events. And probably one of the things that has been the most surprising for all of us is the amount of work that goes into putting these virtual events on. So I really want to have big kudos to Ryan, who's really led the charge and investigated multiple different technology platforms that would work for something like this. To Susan and Sue and Peter. Peter's been basically he's been the technology person behind the scenes, probably sweating it out every single time a video glitched. So congratulations, Peter, you pulled it off. And also to our co-ops, Eric and Austin, and to William, who is behind me in the next room, also making sure that everything's working out. Congrats to the award winners again. You are all an inspiration, and thank you for reminding us about what we do every single day. Admari and Gordon, Nancy Harrison, Dr. Ali Carson, Dr. Paul Sorensen, Xenon and Simon, Chinook and Tom, and Canary and John. I leave this session inspired, in awe, and a little bit selfishly feeling very fortunate that all of you are leading the charge and bringing scientific discovery to translate it into what can make a massive difference in patients' lives. So thank you to many of you that brought that back into this room today, because that's really what it's all been about. And with that, I'll sign off. We have our REMO networking event that Ryan has updated So it can go till 5 if people have that time. I also want to let you know about some upcoming events. Our Investor Summit application period is open right now. And so if you know any companies that want to apply, they have about 24 hours left to apply. Our annual general meeting is next week. It will also be virtual. And then we have a number of webinars coming up in October. One is related to the BioTalent Canada SWIP program, where you can get funding to hire people into your program. This is one of the COVID-19 programs that actually has a lot of opportunity for companies. So if you're interested in that, let us know or attend that event. We will be attending the MedTech conference and leading a BC virtual delegation to that, October 5th to 7th. We have our Gowlings event, and then we're doing our showcase series where we're bringing Prince George innovation to the entire BC community. So we're excited about actually that we can do it virtually and include more people. And then finally, our Investor Summit will be in November. So we look forward to seeing many of you over the next couple of months virtually. And thank you very much again for coming today. Stay safe.